This is the busiest.
And the trains are on strike as well, so I don't know how many people are getting around the city. But as you go through these lights here, we're going to go to another dock, which is Canning Dock on the left hand side. Now Canning Dock, the back walls were built up of the old Liverpool castle that they knocked down many years ago. So then the bricks in the far corner there, they're actually the old castle bricks. So we were recycling many years ago. On the right hand side coming up, we've got a Tesco Express. Got 71 of them in the city. Here's actually 71. What I was going to say, the Strikey building on the right hand side, this is Albion House. In Liverpool it's known as the Streaky Bacon building. It's the former home of the White Star shipping line. They registered the Titanic. You can see the White Star in the building there. White Star, obviously the Titanic didn't come into Liverpool for obvious reasons, but it was registered here. On the left hand side here, guys, anyone know what this building's building for? Anyone? No. It's actually a what? Yes, of course, it's the Beatles. They're actually 8 foot tall. Now, we had a guy on here a couple of weeks ago and he said, I didn't know the Beatles were that tall. Took me ages explaining. But on the right hand side there ahead of us is the Mersey Ferries terminal. That's where you get your ferries that they run on the hour. Just watch your head on the left hand side here, guys, these trees. So as I say, we're going to be changing over guides. Now I'm going on my lunch. On the left hand side here we've got the Port of Liverpool. This is where you used to get your ships years ago. And in front of that, this new building. Now the best thing about that new building is the reflection of the Port of Liverpool. Absolutely just stand out like a sore thumb. And on the right here again we've got the Port of Liverpool. He's alright. Right guys, have fun. I'll probably catch you at some point later on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Approximately 9 million passengers pass through there on the way to the Americas and beyond. Most famous of the Three Graces is beyond left of the Cunard, the Liver Birds, and I'll tell you about the Liver Birds shortly. The big tall rectangular Art Deco building on our right is nothing to do with the Three Graces, that's a ventilation shaft. You can cross the River Mersey 3 ways, by ferry, by train or by road. We've got 2 road tunnels, we need 7 of those ventilation shafts to extract all the fumes. We are on reclaimed land now, ladies and gents. The Mersey used to go right over to the other side of the dual carriageway on the right. Another nice building here, St Nick's for short, the Church of Our Lady and St Nicholas, the patron saint of sailors, coming up on the right. You will see the galleon on top, and there's a Second World War tribute just to the right of the Pride flag. You see those 2 figures? The black cast iron figures. The one above the railings is a little boy, and he's playing with his aeroplane above his head. And behind the railings is his mum, and she's got a young child in her arms, and she's calling him down into the air raid shelter. That's in commemoration of all the air raids when we were heavily hit in the May Blitz in 1941. So we're going to have a little twizzle around the cruise terminal to get us back on track, folks. So the Three Graces, as I say, Port of Liverpool building, Cunard, and this one coming up on your left, the Liver building. Those 2 Liver birds on top, Bella and Bertie. Now Bella is the sensible one on the riverside. She overlooks the River Mersey, waiting for the safe return of the sailors. The one on the city side is Bertie, the chappie. He overlooks Liverpool, waiting for the pubs to open. I know it's the other way round, you can't fool me. Cruise terminal on the left, very busy these days. Now, well, COVID's coming back again, but just going to have to learn to live with it, aren't we? Right, I'm going to get my shades on. Don't mistake me for Elvis. I don't mean Elvis Costello, I mean I'm a secret lemonade drinker. Alright. You know that's Elvis Costello's dad? Really? Yeah, Elvis Costello's dad. He does the vocal on that lemonade advert. I'm a secret lemonade drinker. Alright. Alright. Down to our right, about half a mile, is where my team, Everton FC, will have their new Bramley Moor Stadium. Now you may know we lost the UNESCO status because of the Bramley Dock. being turned into the Everton Stadium. But if you looked at the Bramley dock a couple of months ago, it's a rust bucket. It will be a state-of-the-art arena shortly, creating thousands of jobs. No-brainer to me. That's the Titanic Memorial, the tall grey obelisk on your right with the gold flame. Originally to be dedicated to all fatalities of the Titanic. It was erected in 1915. The First World War had happened, so it's also dedicated to all the fatalities from the First World War.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to the left of St. Nick's, ahead of us, folks, that's Hotel the Mercure. Looks like a ship. Used to be the Atlantic Tower. We are the most filled-in city in the UK outside of London. And Barbara Streisand many years ago filmed Yelto on the River Mersey, and Barbara stayed in that hotel, as did Michael Jackson when he sang at Aintree Racecourse. So there's the two live birds in all their glory. We've got a gorgeous day today, folks. Bella and Bertie, it doesn't really exist, that bird. It's a mythical bird. It's a hybrid of a cormorant, seabird, bird of water, because we're on the river, and an eagle, a bird of royalty. King John gave us our charter in 1207. If you look in the bird's beaks, it looks like there's a little twig. It's a piece of seaweed. The Latin term for seaweed is lava. So some people thought we were called Lava Pool when we started. Some people say we were Lily Pool. It's a small pool of water. And some people say we were Mithrig, which is a Roman term. Here's the little boy again on your left. I call him Billy. I don't know why. He looks like a little Billy to me. There he is. The church has a deal with Marboyles next door, the archery on your left. You can go in there and get your drinks and sit on the church benches. Who said men can't multitask? Get drunk and confess at the same time. You're on it, you're on it. The restaurant on the left, Oh Me Oh My, used to be a bank. And it's called Oh Me Oh My because when you pay a fiver for a cup of tea, that's what you will say. I kid you not. And the rooftop bar is the Goodness Gracious Lounge. Fiver for a brew? Goodness gracious. So there's the three graces we're leaving behind, folks. Liver Building, Cunard, Port of Liverpool Ventilation Shaft, and this building coming up on our left, one of the most important buildings in our city. Look at the stripes up above if you can. We call it the Streaky Bacon Building. Opened in 1898, Albion House. This was the White Star Shipping headquarters in Liverpool. This is where the Titanic was registered. This is where the fatalities were announced in our city. I say in our city because there was White Star offices in London and New York. Look down below, folks, the basement windows. Third window along, you'll see a little model of the Titanic there. There you go. If you're looking for some good food tonight or this afternoon, you can't go wrong with the Liverpool, named after the HMS Liverpool on the left. Biggest Wetherspoons in the city on the right. Captain Alexander, you can go out to the back and sit out upstairs. They're having a nice breakfast, giving us a wave. Anybody want the cavern, folks? Next stop. This time round. This is where Queen Victoria, well, where Queen Victoria is on the right, folks. This is where our castle used to stand. It was, the construction began in 1207, it was demolished in 1734. Queen Victoria's been there since 1902 in commemoration of her death. So stop number 3 coming up left. And down to the far left, there's our town hall. Liverpool Town Hall. So, if you're jumping off here, folks, we've got the cavern just around the corner. Straight ahead of us, the pedestrianised area, the less expensive shops. Primarni, TK Maxx. And down to the right, where Debenhams used to be, that's where you got the trendy shops. All Saints, Zara, Hollister. You will see the Cavern Club, which is £5 entrance. The Cavern Pub is free, and there's music in the Cavern Pub later on. And further down, the Grape Bar, because between 1962 and 1967, the Cavern only sold soup, Coca-Cola and coffee. So, in no particular order, coming up on our right, on the first floor, you're going to see Ringo Starr with his drumsticks. Then you'll see George Harrison with his lead guitar. After the flats, you will see Paul McCartney with his Hofner bass. And at the end of the hotel, there's Matthew Street. There's Mr. John Lennon. Look down Matthew Street on your right. The statue of John is under the Wall of Fame bar. The statue of Scylla further down on the right. Eleanor Rigby right down the far end. A little left turn. So there's a nice view just behind us, folks. John, Paul, George and Ringo. And those statues, as I say, known as Come Together. If you're here at the weekend, folks, we have our Pride Festival. We always have it quite late in Liverpool. When we turn right, we are onto Victoria Street, one of the oldest business quarters in our city. And Victoria Street, of course, is named after Victoria Beckham. Oh, there's some people listening. Of course not, Queen Victoria. But when we turn when we turn right, folks, the streets on the left, you'll see a little rainbow symbol in the bottom right-hand corner, because when we get onto Victoria Street, all the side streets, all the bars and the clubs up there, it's Liverpool's gay quarter. It's gay friendly, it doesn't matter. Whatever your persuasion is, you will be very welcome if you want to dance to house music till 9 a.m. And we've just found out yesterday, guess who's playing Pride at the weekend? Boney M.
Never.
Yes, we've got Boney M this weekend. Brown girl in the rain, tra-la-la-la-la. See the little rainbow symbols on your left, folks? And after these traffic lights, at the next lights, look at the hotel just ahead of us where the two white delivery vans are. You'll see the pigeons on the Settee Hotel on the first floor. They're in the Pride colours. And Liverpool had the rainbow symbols before San Francisco. So at the weekend, especially this weekend, people are on Matthew Street in the Grapes till 4 a.m, over here till 9 a.m, straight into Wetherspoons for breakfast. Don't do it when you've got to get the kids in for college. Not advisable, really not. The statue of Eleanor Rigby is on Stanley Street to our right. So you come to the end of Matthew Street and Eleanor's just down there. But if you don't want to dance to house music till 9 a.m, here's the pigeons and the Pride colours. And you don't want the cavern, you might like a bit of football. Because over the next traffic lights, where the local buses are, we've got a bus strike and a train strike today. Good job, the weather's nice. We've got the two football hotels. The lovely old red brick building you'll see after the next traffic lights is the Dixie Dean Hotel, still to this day my team's most successful striker. Centre forward back then, Dixie Dean of Everton. And on the other side you will see the Shankly Hotel, famous Scottish manager of the Reds. Bill Shankly, not the most successful in terms of trophies, but certainly the most memorable for all his quotations. And as an Evertonian, I remember every single one. I remember Shank saying there's two teams in Liverpool, there's Liverpool and Liverpool Reserves. Oh, come on, Bill. He said if Everton were playing at the end of my garden, I would get up and draw the curtains. What did it mean, that one, Billy? And when he was asked if football was a matter of life or death, he said, nay laddie, it's more important than that. Even if Everton won the European Cup at the top of the Prem, I'd still only lay my life down for my daughter, not my overpaid football team. So there's the Dixie Dean on your left, folks. There's Shankly on your right. Shankly is more popular with hen parties than football fans. It has jacuzzi suites. Come round at the weekend about 7 p.m, there'll be scantily clad girls with an armful of Prosecco going, Julie, I've got the bubbles. Have you got the other bubbles on? Because I'm coming up now. I'm only jealous. On a serious note with football, folks, the drum-shaped monument on our right, that's the latest tribute to the 96 who didn't come home from Hillsborough. And the original Mersey Tunnel on your left, and I mentioned the ventilation shafts, this one looks like a giant mouse hole, statues of the King and Queen left and right. Opened in 1934 by King George V. And back then, our wonderful council said, by the 1970s it would have paid for itself. You will be able to traverse forth and back free of charge. As usual, the council were telling big fibs, because at the moment a motor car is £2 each way and a large van is £7. Anybody want to do some culture, folks, right now? Stop number 4, World Museum on your left. Everything from the Egyptians to the space age. The Central Library voted Library of the UK 2018. You see the circular part coming up with the Doric columns. Most beautiful Victorian reading room in there. You can come out on that domed roof and view the city free of charge. Nobody? No, you just don't want the pubs and the shops, don't you? No culture vultures on board. Maybe later. Up the hill from the library, behind the trees on the left, the Piggott went to prison. Ken Dodd, after his lengthy trial, said, "Not one for politician who limped income tax. 4p in the pound." Your Honour, I still thought it was. Bless you, Doddy. Now, there is 97 Hillsborough fatalities now because Andrew Devine passed away last year, so the Anfield 96 walkway has been renamed the Anfield 97 walkway. And as we go along the monument, folks, look slightly back on yourself on the other side and you will see the 96 names etched down this side just now there. If you don't want it lively tonight, nice real ale pub coming up on the right called Dr. Duncan's. Here's his poster outside. A real doctor. Many years ago, he said, drink the beer. It's safer than the water. And it was at the time, because the water was full of cholera. When we clear these traffic lights, folks, behind the hotel on the right, you'll see a big tall tower. Maybe folks at the front, you can see it already. Radio City 96.7, the Y part on top. You'll see it in a second, I'm not telling fibs, honestly. But the radio tower, the Y part, when it was opened on April Fool's Day 1971, it was a revolving restaurant, and Ken Dodd went in. Here it is, coming up on your right. And he came out, and a journalist said, what's it like, Ken? He said, the food's delicious, but you never find your table when you come back from the toilet, because you keep going round and round and round. Oh, bless you, Doddy. If you like Doddy, the main entrance to Lime Street Station, straight ahead of us, there's two full-length statues. Ken with his tickling stick, and next to him, the formidable Labour MP, Bessie Braddock. On the other side of St George's Hall now, another couple of famous peeps. This guy on the horse on the left is Prince Albert. Behind the lions on the left, Lord Beaconsfield, better known as Benjamin Disraeli, one of our Prime Ministers. And the lady on the horse between the trees on the left, Prince Albert's other half, Queen Victoria. Liverpool Empire on the right. I'll give me age away and say I saw Ziggy Stardust there, the original status quo. Queen with Freddie Mercury, Genesis with Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. And when we turn right, I'm going to show you where the old Odeon cinema used to stand. And when my mum was alive, I was talking to her about all the bands I'd seen here. And we grew up just at the hill. And my mum was in a usherette when the Odeon was round the corner. She used to sneak me in the evenings when I was about that big. Not because I was a film buff at 5, but because it was the cheapest form of babysitting. No health and safety back then, no registers. Here's a bar of Galaxy in your book, sit in the corner and be quiet. And on July the 19th, I think, 1964, the Beatles were here for the Northern scene. The Beatles. She said, yeah, 1964, I was what took you. And I said, I don't remember. She said, well, you wouldn't know, you were 5. But I do remember Ursula Andress in Dr. No. Don't know why. So see that new grey building on your right, folks? That was the Odeon, and that's where the Beatles were. Go online and put in Beatles, Northern Premier Hard Day's Night, in black and white. You see all the limos in the crowd, see it? Just up the hill is an area called Kensington, where I grew up. And I was working in Germany a few years ago, and a lady said to me, Herr Codman, I know Liverpool, I've worked there, which part? I said, Kensington. She said, like Kensington of London. I said, no way. What is it like? I said, it's like Coronation Street with an ice rink, but without the ice rink now. Kensington's most famous child, Mr. Jimmy McGovern, one of our top TV writers. Jimmy wrote Cracker, The Street, Needle, Hillsborough, Moving On, Priest. And last year, a very heavy prison drama with Sean Bean and Stephen Graham, Time. Stephen Graham, Liverpool actor, international now. And Sean, do it for Yorkshire tea, Bean. Yes, not Mr. Bean. Not the fellow who got the turkey stuck on his head in the Christmas episode. He couldn't handle prison. No, don't think so. And he always managed to lose French school children in movies as well. No, he's a funny man, Rowan. Anyway, we're not going to up to Kensington, folks. We're going to turn right onto Seymour Street. It's the start of the Georgian Quarter. Our Georgian Quarter starts here and runs through the two areas of the cathedrals, through the student area and right over to Dingle and Toxteth. On Seymour Street, you're going to see some beautifully renovated Georgian houses, and they are beautifully renovated prices as well. Faulkner Street and Rodney Street, house sales set you back about £1 million, £1.5 million. And William Gladstone, Prime Minister, was born on Rodney Street. As I said earlier, he was Prime Minister 4 times, he was Chancellor 4 times, and he came home and he spent his final days in the house he was born in. So see, he was a Scouser, he was a Scouser, he was a Scouser. I was doing a Beatles bus last week, and we go out to the south of the city, very leafy suburban, and a lady was leaving the bus and she said, I didn't know parts of Liverpool like this existed. And I said, did you really think you were going to come here with all that black curly hair and moustaches and all the cars would be on bricks going, hey, calm down. And she went, well, and I said, you did? And she said, I did, yes, I'm so sorry. I said, well, I opened your eyes. She said, oh yes, it's beautiful. Good and bad everywhere, I think. There's good and bad everywhere. So this is Seymour Street, folks. I would say this is the start of the beautiful Georgian Quarter on your left. We have a couple of songs, one sung by the Spinners, the folk group, In My Liverpool Home. In my Liverpool home. I always think you've got to have a big polar neck and a sou'wester when you sing a folk song. It should be rain splashing on you. But one of the verses, we meet under a statue exceedingly bare. I'll show you that statue soon. If you want a cathedral, we've got one to spare, because we've got two. And you're going to get your first glimpse of the Catholic one shortly. We do stop outside both of them. And honestly, as a local, I can't recommend enough. This is dream weather. Well, both cathedrals are gorgeous, but the Catholic Cathedral, the tower on top, is the largest expanse of stained glass in the UK in one area. When you're inside and this sort of sunshine comes through, it's absolutely spectacular. And then we'll see Lime Street Station, which is featured in the Beatles song Maggie May. You'd have found Bertie, Maggie May, they have taken her away, and she'll never walk down Lime Street anymore. Itchka, itchka, itchka. And the reason Maggie May won't walk down Lime Street anymore is because Lime Street, in the days of the sailors and the soldiers, used to be our red light district, our reaper barn. So Maggie May was carted off by the policeman for plying her trade. Don't go on TripAdvisor or ring me boss about this. I'm just explaining the lyrics to you. Or am I? Yeah, both cathedrals absolutely gorgeous. First one coming up on your left, folks. The Metropolitan Catholic Cathedral. And now we're going to go through Lime Street Bridge, which will be very quiet today because there's a train strike. And then I will show you the naked chap who featured in the song In My Liverpool Home. He's on the first floor of the old Lewis's department store. Lewis's was a beautiful department store, have a fabulous delicatessens on the ground floor. It's apartments now. But he's coming up. Straight ahead of us behind a tree, and for obvious reasons, because he's on top of the old Lewis's department store, he is known as Dickie Lewis. And in the days before mobile phones, this is absolutely true, that's where we used to meet. On a Friday we'd say, right, where are we going tomorrow night? I don't know, we'll meet under Dickie Lewis. Anybody who was late, you'd get the chalk off the floor and you'd write the pub on the wall. If you want it crazy tonight, that's where all the Daft Irish karaoke, I don't mean Daft Irish, I mean all the crazy bars. Karaoke. For men of my age, you still think they're 18? Yes. I can still do this. Go ahead. Put a bit of Motown on, DJ. This is rubbish, this house music. Anybody want the Adelphi, folks? Yes? No? The Adelphi? No? You're in good company here. Bob Dylan stayed in this hotel on the left. Laurel and Hardy on 3 occasions. Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, Hannah Wilson, Winston Churchill, Eleanor Roosevelt, Mae West, Charles Dickens, Roy Rogers, the old American cowboy actor. Clayton Moore, better known as the Lone Ranger, Io Silva. Where does the Lone Ranger take his rubbish? Tiddydum, 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 tiddydum. I told you they're going to get worse. Charles Dickens liked us so much, he named the baddie from Oliver Twist, Mr. Brownlow, after this street, Brownlow Hill. Brownlow Hill takes us up to our original student quarter, and the big student building's named after famous locals. The one at the right of the traffic lights behind the trees, Redmond's building, Sir Phil Redmond. Anybody remember Grange Hill? Zamo Ziggy Tucker, he created Grange Hill. Brookside, the man who never had enough breath. Sheila, hey Sheila, get I've got to get you a union, baby. Sheila, get I've got two for a drink. And still on, Hollyoaks, of course. Can't do Hollyoaks, I'm not pretty enough. Next guy needs no introduction. Look up the hill, folks, just to the left of those trees. That little head is a self-portrait of John Lennon. The John Lennon Art and Design building. Folks, at the left you might have to wait to see it behind. On the right, can you see up there? John was an art student in Liverpool before he was famous. If you've missed it, swivel round as we pass this building, and it's on the first floor here, folks, where I'm pointing. Now, John designed that little head himself, and we're going to show you John's old art college in a few minutes. It's where he met the guy known as the fifth Beatle, Stu Sutcliffe, who had a very short life, very tragic. He passed away in Hamburg when he was 21. And the art college is where John met his first wife, Cynthia Powell, who was Julian's mum. And she became Cynthia Lennon, of course. The red brick building on the left, the first red brick university building of the UK. It's now the Victoria Gallery and Museum. It's free to enter to see the exhibitions Monday to Friday at 10 AM and 12:30 noon. not sure what's going on. I don't know if they're renovating it or hope they're not going to add some big new, fancy new parts. I like the old buildings, mate. Anybody want the Catholic Cathedral, folks? This is the small one. If you've only got a couple, don't have to move yet, ladies. Just to let Joe know. This is the small one if you've only been sinning a little bit. But both cathedrals are absolutely gorgeous. But the original Liverpool University area, this is here. We have to drop you here, ladies, because there's roadworks down there, so you could straight ahead. You don't have to go all the way around the front. You can go in the lift in the car park or go through the trees and the gardens. Thank you, folks. My pleasure, sir. Yes, massive student population, 58,000 in term time. They've all got to have a drink, live somewhere, have a drink. Take a taxi, have a drink. Take a bus, have a drink. Find somewhere to live, have a drink and study. And that's why, even though I live 2 minutes around the corner, I went to Guildford. And said, why are you going the other end of the country, son? To get away from you, mate, and misbehave. And become the novelty northerner, yes. Hey, invite Paul to the party, we'll sing Beatles songs. Both cathedrals, though, folks, are absolutely gorgeous. And in the front of this one, you may just be able to make out the bells as we're coming through here. We will see them at the front. The 4 bells at the front, officially, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, just behind those trees. Now, you can't see them, we're going to be round the corner shortly. As I say, if you're doing the cathedral, you have to jump off at the temporary stop, go through the car park, the lift, or you can walk up the ramp here, the gardens. But these 4 bells, officially Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, but in Beatles City we call them John, Paul, George and Ringo. And Ringo is the best name for the bell. Ringo the bell. You see the largest one on the right, folks? That is the one that stood outside the old poorhouse. On that site until about 1930 was the Victorian workhouse. Oh, we've got a little detour. I don't know about this, I've been on the Beatles.
The Oxford Street.
Oh, we're doing a magical mystery tour, Joe. Oh, you've got another lovely Georgian street on the right. We're right in the heart of student land now, folks. Oh, are we going down Cambridge Street? There's a look. Oh, watch yourself, madam. That's right, don't look, don't look. I look a million times when I cross a road because I don't want 7 ton of steel to hit my chest. I know it's only little, but I like it. This is a lovely pub if you're up this end, folks, the Cambridge. Hey, we're going to squeeze through there, Joe. Oh, you've seen a little pub. Oh, I haven't been in this pub. This is a cracking little pub here. In fact, I was talking to our ladies from Newcastle earlier down at the box office. This is right in the heart of the Georgian Quarter now, folks. If you're here on Sunday, the Caledonia pub is a vegan pub. They have live jazz. The Martin Smith Quartet. But seriously, our student population is fabulous. 2 of our biggest sources of income, our student population and our film industry. We have 4 productions per week on average in this city. 9 times out of 10 they're not set here, but it's great for the economy. Security, transport, accommodation. We are back on track, folks. Did anybody want the Philharmonic pub? If you go in the Philharmonic pub, show your ticket, you get 20% discount off your food and drink. And that's the Philharmonic, the sandstone building just ahead of us to the right. That's where Sir Paul McCartney did the gig as part of the Late Late Show when James Corden did carpool karaoke with him. And Sir Paul also presents every single graduation certificate to every single student. He did it 3 days ago in the Philharmonic Theatre, which is on our left. Because that's the graduations from LIPA, L-I-P-A, Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. It used to be Liverpool Institute Grammar School, and Paul was a student, and so was George. And I used to teach at LIPA. He's one of the nicest chaps you will ever meet. He does an awful lot for his city. And that's the Philharmonic Theatre on your left, and the Phil pub is just behind us. And Paul's school is the sandstone building straight ahead of us under the cathedral. But the most famous Georgian street in Liverpool, and it's lovely here in this weather, folks, is Faulkner Street coming up on the left, where John Lennon and Cynthia, his wife. Have a look down here. They take the motor cars away. They film Peaky Blinders, Sherlock Holmes, Charles Dickens. And the BBC filmed the fabulous series A House Through Our Time about 4 years ago. The entrance to George Harrison and Paul McCartney School, the 4 pillars on your right. That's the original entrance to Liverpool Institute. And the entrance for John, Stuart and Cynthia for the Art College, these two columns on your right now. That's where they used to go into the Art College. But enough of the Beatles. Feast your eyes on this beauty coming up around this corner. Have a look at that, folks. How gorgeous is that? Where the group are ahead of us, if you walk along there, I walked in here this morning, it's an amazing view. It was designed by a 22-year-old architect student, Giles Gilbert Scott. He was still at university, he entered the competition, he won it, he designed the cathedral. If you go inside, you'll find one of the old red British telephone boxes. He also designed that. I was confirmed in this building when I was 11 years of age by the Right Reverend David Shepherd, who was also an England cricketer. Absolutely true. I'm sorry, David, it's been downhill ever since. Gosh, when was I 11? Oh my gosh. 9 years ago. On our right, so Rodney Street, the second most famous Georgian street in Liverpool. I'm going to show you William Gladson's birthplace, but look at the signs along here: the Crystal Clear Training Academy, the Duke and Duchess Aesthetics Clinic, the Crystal Clear Training Academy, and well, lots of others very similar. So if that's not enough clues, I'll tell you it's our Harley Street. It's our plastic surgery centre. It's where you get your nips, your tucks, your fillers and your Botox. Yes, it works for me. I'm 112. It's true, this is where it goes on. But William Gladson, see where the ladies are on the left? See the grey plaque? Oh, it's sold. Joe, have you bought this? Joe must have $1.5 million. There's the plaque. That's where William Gladson was born, folks. And that's where he came and spent his final days. Now we're going to turn left, but any Beatles fans of you up here, over the traffic lights on the left, at number 4, you'll see a plaque outside. Brian Epstein, the Beatles manager, the second most successful Beatles manager, was born in the nursing home when he was there. Most successful Beatles manager, except when it came to merchandise. He did some terrible deals at a penny an item. On February the 19th, 1964, a British company sent 1/2 ton in weight of Beatles wigs to the States. I had one, it was like a plastic goldfish bowl. Put it on your head, you tried to be a Beatle and go, woo, and the wig stayed in place and all you did was scratch your head. Anyway, 1/2 ton in weight of these things, and a journalist said to the band, oh, are you getting worried and concerned? All these people are imitating you in Beatles wigs. And John said, no, they don't worry us, because they actually don't imitate us, because we don't wear Beatles wigs. Bless you, John. I hear someone's getting off at the bombed out church, completely flattened in the May Blitz in 1941, folks. The beer garden will be open later on. But take in our First World War tribute coming up on your left, down below. German soldier shaking hands with a British soldier across a football, surrounded by poppies. That's in commemoration of the truce when Germany played England a football in no man's land on Christmas Day, 1940. Folks, if you're getting off at this stop later, straight ahead of us, that's Bowl Street. It runs from here down to Church Street. Semi-pedestrianised restaurant from all over the world, and also a traditional English cafeteria, Maggie May's. If you like your vinyl, your charity shops, your retro shops, Pop, Resurrection. So this is the bombed out church. I did hear the bell tinkle, and your stop is coming up right now, folks. Here you go. So we're entering Chinatown.
Should we do that? What do you think?
That you ladies? Ah, I wondered who it was. Have a good day. Every 20 minutes, same stop. Every 20 minutes, ladies. My pleasure. We are twinned with Shanghai. We're twinned with Rio in Brazil. We're twinned with Hamburg in Germany. Big connection for the Mersey Beat scene in Hamburg. And we're also twinned with Odessa in Ukraine. Anybody looking for something a little bit outside the box? Just where Duke Street is, there, just to the right, the Quirky Quarter. Everything is out. I can't really explain it. All I can say is everything is outside the box and not what it seems. Great for kids. Just there. You do have to pay, of course, though. Anybody want Chinese arts, folks? Anybody getting off? No? Okie-dokie. Right. We're coming to the edge of Dingle and Toxteth. You probably know Ringo of the Beatles was born in Dingle. Billy Fury, having hits before the Beatles in 1960. Jerry Marsden of Jerry and the Pacemakers. And his brother Freddie was the drummer. George Merry, the old Sadjazzer. Arthur Askey. Hello, playmates. I hang on. Oh, what fun it is to be a healthy, grown-up, busy bee. Wasn't great, Arthur. Kids, you didn't miss anything. Arthur Astley, star of The Ghost Train, written by Arnold Ridley. You know Arnold Ridley. Godfrey. I say, Captain Mannering, my sister Sissy has made some cake. Cake? Well, fighting the enemy, man. And then a German soldier would appear and say to Ian Lavender, "What is your name?" "Don't tell him, Pike." "Oh, you don't get me." Also born in the Dingle, Jean Alexander. "Oh, Stanley, you big lummox, you're as much use as a chocolate teapot." Hilda of Corrie was born 2 streets before Ringo. Now, when we get to the next traffic lights, folks, behind the trees on the left, you will see St. James Church of Toxteth. Alois Hitler, Adolf's half-brother, lived with his Irish wife Bridget in number 221B. And Chris and Eddie Amu grew up behind that church. Chris is sadly no longer with us. They were the founder brothers of the most successful black group in the UK in the 1970s. 2 weeks ago this week, in 1976, they were number 1 with "You to Me Are Everything," the sweetest song that I could sing. Oh baby, oh, see, good music just goes through. Sadly, Eddie's no longer with us. Service was after that. So this is the Baltic Quarter on your left, folks. Peaky Blinders. You can play ghettos, golf, bongos, bingo, food market. The Abbey Road mural is just to the left. And if anybody wants this stop, we stop on Jamaica Street round the corner. I have 2 favourite statues in this city because they're my 2 heroes. David Bowie is in the British Music Experience, and stop number 11 round the corner is my other guy. I've just completely bought his new box set. Well, not his new box set, but his 9 studio albums and his 2 live albums in 1 box set, $14.95 on eBay. I'm not telling you who he is because it would spoil the statue. The clue is it's Jamaica Street. Anybody want this stuff? Joe, I don't know if the bells work. Oh yeah, got some for this. Arcanes is here, if you like all your old retro Space Invaders and things like that. The Abbey Road mural stops people arguing with us that it's in Liverpool. Where's Abbey Road, mate? It's in St. John's Wood in London. No, the one in Liverpool. It's in St. John's Wood in London. No, the LP cover, Liverpool, the Beatles. It's in St. John's Wood in London. There it is behind you, folks, on the wall. Right, 3 streets along on the left, we are going to stop. So you just jump off here, walk a little walk back, and then back every 20 minutes. The last one will be about 4:30, folks. Okay, he's coming up between the trees. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? No, it's not Jurgen Klopp, if you remember, I'm an Evertonian. Have a look at this guy here. How cool is this? There's our Bob. How fabulous is that? There you go, folks. This is your stop. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. See you in a while.
Yeah, you will. You will. How does Bob Marley like his donuts? We're jamming. Thank you. I know the rubbish, but you know this. Yeah. Why I love the statue of Bob and Bowie is, as well as loving the music, they really look like them. They really look, you know, that's fabulous, that one. The one of Jurgen is good as well. There's another one of Jurgen coming up on the right. And just after Jurgen on the right, you'll see the wings, where all the hen and stag parties stand there in between. Look for all Liverpool's live birds. You may have already seen that on social media. So, Ghettos, Golf and Bongos Bingo played at the Brewery Village. Young lady on before COVID. I mentioned Bongos Bingo. She grinned. I said, "You played it?" She said, "I have." I said, "Tell me so I can share." She said, "I don't know." So drunk, I fell off the table. This is true. This is true. She said, "The gimmick is the prizes are rubbish, but the cash is great." She said, "Somebody won a box of cornflakes." She said, "We won an inflatable crocodile. Then they won £600 in cash in your hand, bosh." I said, "Did you put that 600 back over the bar?" She said, "Some of it." I said, "That's why you fell off the table." She said, "But there were 4 of us." I said, "That's 150 quid each. That's good going." So if you're going to play Bongos Bingo on your own, let's be it. Now, I mentioned Adolf Hitler living in Toxteth, with the first Scandinavian Church of Liverpool coming up on the left, the Gustav Adolf Church. But Gustav Adolf, nothing to do with Adolf Hitler. Gustav was Swedish, and the term Scouse originates in Scandinavia. Their spelling and pronunciation, S-K-A-U-S, Scouse, but we've changed it to S-C-O-U-S-E, Scouse. It's a traditional dish, a cheaper cut of beef. You dice it up, you mix it with a seasoning, oxo, water, vegetables, potatoes, cook it up like a stew or a casserole. And traditionally we serve it with pickled red cabbage and or beetroot, crusty bread, got to have your crusty bread for your gravy, and depending on your tipple, a pint of beer or a pot of tea. If you want to do it with a pot of tea, Maggie Mae's on Bowl Street or the Beatles Cafe. Beatles Cafe do a full breakfast for $3.95 just off Matthew Street. If you want to do it with a pint, I recommend the Ship and Mitre, the Real Ale Pub just by the Mersey Tunnel. They boast they win our camera competition every year, the campaign for Real Ale. They boast 140 different beers, dark, stouts, blonde, wheat beers, really good spirits, good wine, really good bowl of scouts, and probably the best chunky chips in Liverpool. A proper chip. Peel a potato, get the oil, the right temperature, fry them till they're golden on the outside and fluffy in the middle. Not little skinny things from McDonald's that go freezing cold in 7 seconds. Actually, speaking of McDonald's, we're going to go right, ladies and gents. Just to the left, past the nice Real Ale Pub, the Baltic Fleet, is a McDonald's. This is true. When the McDonald's down here opened about 20 years ago, Ronald McDonald, or whoever's in charge, said, "Ooh, the Albert Dock, the River Mersey, the Beatles, the Fab Four. Our latest branch, I know, we'll fill it full of framed pictures of the Fab Four." And they did. And Sir Paul McCartney found out, and he got straight on the blower and he said, "Hello, Ronald McDonald, Sir Paul McCartney here, strict vegetarian, so was my first wife Linda. I'd like you to take those pictures down now, immediately, if not sooner." And they did. They had to. I know Ronald McDonald's got a few dollars and a few pounds, but as nice as a chap he is, I wouldn't challenge Sir Paul in court. I know Yoko Ono did over the copyright of some of the music. But let's face it, anybody who keeps a fur coat in the fridge has got more money than sense. Right folks, we're on the home stretch. We are the quarter past, so literally once we get to base, we swap passengers, we'll be setting off. So, when we turn left, straight ahead of the carousel, beyond the Pump House Pub, you've got the Tate Gallery of Modern Art, you've got the Billy Fiore statue. You do pay for the Beatles story. People say, is it worth it? Are you a fan of the Beatles? Not really. It's not worth it. Are you a fan of the Beatles? I love them. It's worth it. The dock on the right, the Canning, was a dry dock, and it contains some of the sandstone walls from Liverpool Castle that I mentioned about an hour ago. Just the big black crazy building, that's the Open Eye Gallery of Modern Art, that's free of charge, and just to its left, the grey flat roof, that's the Museum of Liverpool, but stop number 2 is better for that. As the name suggests, everything in there is connected to the city. The building on the right with the orange columns, that's where Richard and Judy used to transmit from, before they went to that London place. Don't ask about the other guy who did the weather, I won't mention his name, but if you want to know where the islands were, they're hopping across on your right, where the little yachts and the boats are there, folks. Just to the left of the Tate, Tony's Chippy, probably the best chippy in Liverpool, but certainly not cheap, but very, very nice. If you need a bathroom, folks, use the Beatles story. You don't pay to go in the gift shop early because the main public toilets are right over on the other side of the dock. Other than that, folks, on behalf of Joe 2 behind the big wheel and little me behind the microphone, thank you for coming on. If you've fallen in love with us, we have a little box at the front. If you hate our guts,